Welcome back into the Daft on Draft podcast. I am your host, Corey Kinnan, alongside Dalton Miller, back in the booth here. Yesterday, we did a little Freaks List discourse talking about Bruce Feldman's Freaks List that he puts out every year. Today, we're getting back into some positional rankings a little bit today. Not more so positional scouting reports than the rankings, but we're going to be talking about we're going to be talking through this edge class a little bit over the next couple days here to round out this week here. I can't do that alone, though. Dalton has takes on these edge rushers as well, and I think we see them fairly similarly. But Dalton, welcome back in. How are you doing today?
Yeah, we might divert a little bit here and there. But overall I think we have the same sort of feeling when it comes to this class overall from what we see right now. I do think that there is some potential in this class specifically because of the types of players that we're looking at, but a lot in my opinion has to go right before really any of these guys are blue chip prospects.
Yeah, I feel the same way. I am very low on this edge class, going through the top names in the class so far. I've got a few more to go through for the next episode when we're talking through some of the depth pieces of the edge class. Again, some of the names that we've already talked about on our team reviews. So if you want to hear about Kenyatta Jackson, Mateo Uyangalele, more from Texas, those guys, go back and listen to the team review. Denai Dennis Sutton, we did Penn State as well. So go back and listen to those team specific podcasts if you want to hear about those. But we're going to leave those guys off because we've already talked about them. But we're going to go through 5 of the bigger names in this class today, Dalton. And let's start with the one that is like seemingly consensus edge one, but I don't think you have him edge one, and I don't have him edge one either. So let's start with Auburn's Keldric Faulk, 19-year-old phenom here. Give me your thoughts on Keldric Faulk.
Yeah, let's start with him. First of all, he is a first off the bus build guy. I mean, that's quite obvious the minute that you see him. I do like it's funny. I like guys who play lower to the ground almost all the time. Like I love some good knee bend. And Keldric Faulk doesn't really have great knee bend, but he has really good foot efficiency in his change of direction for his size. Like he runs incredibly upright way too often, in my opinion, but he is still able to kind of swivel. He's still able to plant. And so there's very little wasted motion with him. I also think that he accelerates pretty well for 270 pounds, despite being a little bit upright. I think he's got outside in versatility, which is something that we're going to say with a lot of these guys moving forward. Natural power, he pressures interior blockers, he's got strong eyes. And I really like the way that he gets his hands up into passing windows. Being as big as he is, that is going to affect quarterbacks at the next level. Unfortunately, part of getting your hands up means that you're not really that close to the quarterback very often. And I just feel like with Faulk, we're lacking everything when it comes to a rush plan, when it comes to a pass rush repertoire, when it comes to his consistency in allowing his chest to be just an absolutely massive target for offensive tackles to engage with. And so he has all of these physical tools that you really want to love. But overall, a lack of bend, which is going to be something that we talk about consistently with this class, it really shows up for me on tape.
I feel pretty similarly. I did an Inside the Film Room on him. It's on the Substack. It's a 70-minute video. I broke down 2 games live. And the first few plays is like, oh, I see it. And then I stopped seeing it pretty quick. There's a part of me that thinks Auburn's asking him to do too much as well. Like, yes, he has all of this alignment versatility, but what good is playing him at nose doing for the kid at 19 years old? So I think there's an element of maybe they should reduce his versatility, alignment usage a little bit. But yeah, man, the ankles, man, are really stiff. Like there's nothing through the outside shoulder. And with that, then I feel like you need to be able to convert speed to power at a high level. And I don't see it at a high level. I see flashes of it. I do see some hip flexibility in his ability to reduce his surface area and kind of split blocks in the run game. I think he's a really high floor run defender, like a very high floor run defender. but that pass rush upside is very much lacking from his ability to win outside shoulder, to play outside of his frame, kind of the pad level stuff. And then I just don't think he has a plan with his hands right now either. And I know people love this kid. Like, I have some really good buddies who are like, this is edge one. This is a blue chip player at first round grade. And I don't see it yet. Again, he's 19. Upside is there. So people factor that into summer scouting as well. I do a little bit, but what I saw from last year's tape wasn't nearly enough for me to make that big of a leap with Keldric Faulk. So that's kind of where I stand on him, man. Let's move on to TJ Parker, man. So TJ Parker's another guy who his back half of the season is much better than his front half of the season. If you watch like games near the end of the season, I like a lot of what TJ Parker does. Like, if you watch the SMU game exclusively and the Texas game, you're like, yeah, this is a really good football player. Because he's got some reps on Kelvin Banks, man, where he makes him look pretty silly, hooking him around the outside shoulder. I do think that Parker too, though, is a little stiff in the ankles. He can't consistently corner the way I would like to see him consistently corner. I do think the power profile is there, so when he gets into the chest, he can convert speed to power at a pretty good rate, which is why I'm a little more bullish on him than I am any other edge rusher in this class. Is because he does have that ability to win with long arm, to win through the chest. Again, a pretty decent run defender with some alignment versatility to kick into 4-eye looks as well. It's on his tape, so I'm going to leave a little more bullish on TJ Parker. He's got a cross chop as well to win along that outside shoulder. Again, I wish he could corner a little tighter, roll out those ankles, buddy. But I think I see the physical traits, the explosiveness, the power to be a bit more bullish on TJ Parker.
That's exactly why I look at Parker as the better rusher between he and Falk right now.
Mm-hmm.
Because you do see a far more consistent power profile. I love the sawed-off 6'3" thick boy build that he has as well. I have just kind of learned to really enjoy shorter edge rushers, shorter interior defenders, as long as you are able to use length to your advantage and that natural leverage that you do have. I do think that he lacks that top tier hip and ankle flexibility. Despite that stocky build, I know that you were talking about the outside in versatility. In 4-eye looks, even when he is aligned outside of that, even when he's at 7, I think that, his ability to kind of stand up to double teams is lacking as well. Tight ends and offensive tackles are really able to kind of bully him when they're working in tandem. I think that there is a lackluster rush plan overall with him. I just don't think that it's all there right now. And I think that what I really like to see from edge rushers now at the NFL level, and he has that power profile, which already gives him, in my opinion, a decent floor. But that ceiling really comes from the ability to delete space. And I don't think that Parker has that space deleting type of acceleration to him. And then I didn't see it. I watched 3 games. I don't think I saw a single inside move the entire time. And I don't know if that's just something that is a Clemson thing, or I'm gonna have to watch the other side. But I didn't see him counter inside at all.
There's not a complete edge rusher in this class. There's not a complete down to down edge rusher. All two, like both phases of the game, edge rusher in this class.
I think the best edge rusher in this class is an interior player.
Peter Woods, when he kicks out?
No.
Which
We're
one?
going to talk about him here in a second.
Oh, you're going to talk about an interior guy in our group. Okay. All right, let's move on, man. Let's talk about...
Can we just talk about him now?
Yeah, go for it, man. Go for
Reuben Bain Jr., Miami. I think he's too solid off behind the edge. I think he probably has to move inside. But to be the best to his ability consistently, because he is sawed off. He does not have very long arms.
Not a ton of juice either.
Well, I disagree with that.
I think he's got heavy hands.
I think he has great hands. I think that he is laterally explosive. Like in a phone booth, he is explosive.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think that he has the kind of 10 to 20
Yeah.
acceleration and explosiveness, but you don't need to
Mm-hmm.
when you're working in 6-yard windows anyways. And out of all of these guys, except for R. Mason Thomas, who's 250 pounds, nobody won more consistently on the outside shoulder than Bain in this entire group. Not Parker, not Faulk, not Overton, and really not even Thomas, just because Thomas lacks size
Yeah.
and length as well. But in my strengths here, dangerous as a reduced down rusher. He
Mm-hmm.
threatens the shoulder. He crosses face. He's a bull in a china shop when he's crashing inside from 7 tech. With on defensive
Mm-hmm.
line games, extension and grip strength are evident. So even though he doesn't have length, he is pretty good at maximizing his
He's got
length
upper
that
body
he
strength for sure.
does have. He's got great upper body strength, but it's not just the upper body strength; it's the lower body strength as well to hold up.
Tree trunk,
Evident
dude.
speed to
Yeah.
power profile. He flashed a little bit of a floating club and rip against Iowa State, um, and he mixes up his pass rush plan pretty well. I mean, out of all of these guys, he has the best pass rush plan, the most proactive pass rush plan out of all of these guys. You just need him to stay healthy for this year, and I would really love. He's listed at 275. I would really love to see him play at 280, 285, and stay
Kalijah can't
inside
see
a
this
little bit
bad boy.
more.
Yeah.
I mean, and that's kind of what it reminds me of. I mean, go out there and
He's
be
not as
Elijah
slippery as
Cates.
Cansey for sure, but
He's not as slippery, but he's got way more natural power than
oh,
Cansey
for sure.
did.
Oh, yeah.
So, I mean, Bain he's got sledgehammer hands
Yeah.
for a 275-pound guy. And on top of that, I do really enjoy the lateral explosiveness that he has. He is able to cross face and really threaten interior pass pass blockers at a high level. So I'm very excited about him. Now, there is
I
a
think he's a little
disparity
stiff
here.
too, but
There's a disparity here because I was watching Parker and Falk against some of the best offensive tackles, some of the best interior blockers in the game, and I watched Bain against Louisville and Iowa State, and like in teams that are not putting out NFL draft worthy offensive tackles
Mhm.
or interior players. So there is that difference as well in the tape in level of competition. But Bain in those games that I watched was dominant.
Mhm. Yeah, I don't have much more to add on Bane. I agree that like reducing down and playing 3 tech, 4 eye, big end in some base sets, like I think that's where he's gonna play. I think that's exactly his role. Let's move on to LT Overton. LT Overton has one of the weirdest profiles of an edge rusher that I've ever seen in my life. He's listed at like 6'5". He's actually like 6'2", verified. But he's got like I think 33-inch arms, I want to say. Uh, but he's like 6'2", 275. And he plays with more flexibility in his hips and his ankles than these dudes who are 240, 250 pounds. But he plays with like less explosiveness and power than these dudes with 200 that are 240, 250 pounds. So like he is a very unique pass rusher. I dig him a little. Like I dig him quite a bit. Like I think I probably have him in my edge 2 right now because his ability to win outside the track, his ability to win outside inside. I think he's fairly stout against the run. I just wish there was more juice, more explosiveness in that first step, a more evident ability to convert speed to power. For as heavy as his hands are, I need him to start showing that power profile through the chest and not just winning as a finesse guy at 6'2", 280. Like, I need you to play like a dude who's 270, 280 pounds a little bit too. And I think that's my biggest issue with him. But I think as far as an ability to win outside track, it's the best of any of the guys we've talked about at that size. And I do think he's got a pretty decent cross chop. He's got a pretty decent long arm. And so there is a little bit to work with there in terms of variety. Like, really, I just need a guy to have a go-to and a changeup. If you can throw me a go-to and a changeup and keep guys out, then that works for me. And I see that with LT Overton. again, it's the high level juice that really gives me pause, and why like he's the only him and Parker are the only two that I even have second round grades on, and they're both like low second round grades on Parker and Overton. Again, I don't love this edge class as a whole. But he is one of the two that I have a second round grade on, even if it is a low second round grade. So a top 64-ish kind of player. Because he's just so unique, but the ways he wins, it's like that'll play. That'll play. Just play a little more physical, play a little more powerful. It's kind of where I'm at with LT Overton.
Yeah, I really don't have that much to add. I have in my strengths, Bend at his size is borderline unreal.
It does make sense.
He's incredibly flexible, but I just personally I hate big guys who play small. I hate big guys that play small. So for me, I think that kind of weighs into the way that I feel about Overton compared to somebody like Bane. Bane's a big dude, relatively, and he plays big. He plays heavy. And I think when we talk about how guys win at the NFL level, I think you either have to be a freakishly explosive player, which Overton is flexible, but he's not overly explosive.
Mm-hmm.
And so even though he's winning at the outside track at the college level, I don't think that that's going to play as nicely at the NFL level unless he is able to consistently show a more profitable speed to power profile, which at his size, with his length, he really should be far more effective going through the chest.
A little more powerful, and he might be a Brandon Graham regen. Like just a little bit more.
It's funny because somebody actually comped Bane to Brandon, the way that Brandon Graham plays.
Yeah, he's a little more sawed off than Graham, I think. But
yeah.
But yeah, Overton's got something there. Got something there. But yeah, he's got to be a little bit more powerful. And I don't like. And it's a question is like, does he have the juice to be a little more powerful? I text back and forth with James Foster, who filled in, and he's got access to some of the tracking data, and he's like a 25th percentile athlete in terms of first step and explosiveness off the ball, which is not great. So we'll see if that's just like a thinking thing, or if like he's read stepping on, where we want him to kind of to come out and shoot. We'll see. We'll see a little bit there, but we're gonna move on to the fifth and final guy for this episode here. And it's going to be Oklahoma's R. Mason Thomas. R. Mason Thomas is... There's a couple guys tomorrow we'll talk about that I think are also ungodly explosive. Or whenever we talk about the next set of edge rushers. And David Bailey and Anto Saka. Both those guys are also unbelievably explosive. R. Mason Thomas is ungodly explosive, and his highs are the highest of anybody in this class. Some of those reps he has against Will Campbell, the 4th overall pick in this past draft, he makes Will Campbell look like a day 3 player, and on a couple of those reps where he's just completely beating him to his outside shoulder, using his little bend. I mean, he's flexible as hell. So he has nice bend. He's got a nice cross chop too to get underneath of that outside shoulder. And like, he can just play so low that offensive tackles have a hard time matching his pad level. And that plays when you are that explosive. I even saw, like, I'm not going to say he's a stout run defender by any means. I saw a good enough baseline as an edge setter to say, like, you don't have to play this guy just on passing downs. Like, he can give you a little bit as a rotational edge defender, even if you have to play him on some situations that might warrant the offensive running the football. I saw enough as an edge setter because of his pad level. He's only got like 31-inch arms, so like very short arms. But I saw enough from his pad level to still be able to get underneath of offensive tackles enough to set at least an edge, a decent edge. And as a rotational pass rusher, is he most likely starting as a DPR? Yes. But as a rotational pass rusher, I think that's good enough to still get on the field on first and second downs.
I liken him to a honey badger, not the honey badger, but a honey badger, because at 250 pounds, he doesn't have the raw physical ability to run through somebody's chest.
No, not at all.
But he is an asshole, and he will try to run through your chest, and he keeps his hands so active, and it literally looks like a hummingbird with their wings, except he knows what he is doing with his hands, and he will fight to get control of those hands. And so with the continuous clawing for positioning, he is able to, although inconsistently, find some speed to power. And that is pretty interesting from a 250-pound guy with 31-inch arms. Now, when you look at somebody who you could think of as a similar style is Micah Parsons, who has 31-inch arms and is ungodly explosive, way more powerful,
Way more
naturally
powerful.
powerful than our Mason Thomas. Like, and it's not even close. But that is an example of somebody with short arms and a stout frame, 250 pounds, maybe sub 250, that can still win through the chest at the NFL level, despite all of the physical detriment that he has. I think that the other thing that really impresses me with Thomas is that he gets more impressive as the game goes on. And that worries me from a rotational pass rusher perspective, because I think that it's taking him a little bit of time throughout games to really feel out these offensive tackles. And then by the time you get to the third and fourth quarter and he's got 25, 30 reps on them, he knows how they're going to attack him. And then he is able to work off of that. The other thing that I really like is his ability to kind of open the door on the outside. He shows that like rear delt on the inside, and he doesn't allow you to get a clean shot on him. And it allows him to kind of step underneath the table and swing inside. And he has that bend, even when his hips aren't aligned to where the quarterback is. He is able to plant, drive through, and then swing the hips as he gets that advantage on the offensive tackle. Now, I wish that he won quicker on the outside more often. And that's kind of my issue with him. That's why I'm
Yeah.
not as bullish on him as I thought I might be coming in, because he does have to work a lot harder than I want him to have to work to win on the outside because of how explosive he is.
Yeah.
But
Unless that initial move hits, which it
that
hits
one
quite a
win
bit,
against Will
but
Campbell,
is
the way that he okay, what I was talking about earlier when I was talking about the ability to delete space, when he got through the outside shoulder of Campbell on that rep,
that corner was so freaking tight, dude.
he, not just the corner being tight, but the immediacy in which he got even with the shoulder to when he was planting his shoulder pad into the back of Garrett Nussmeier was a blink of an eye. It was that space deleting acceleration when you know you have the target in mind and you just hit the NOS button. And that's exactly what he did.
Mhm.
And so, yes, the high end pass rush, there's nobody, in my opinion, that I saw have higher. But I think consistency wise, I saw Bain winning more often.
Interesting. I think I've got them in a similar
They're just
tier.
different players. That's the
They're very
problem.
different players. But again, we just talked through 5 of the top edge rushers. If you go back and listen to the Oregon episode, like, we aren't high on Mateo Uyunglele either at all. Like, if you wanna talk about LT Overton being a big guy who plays small, like, magnify that by 2 or 3 times, and that's what we're talking about with Mateo Uyunglele, in my opinion. Like, a big dude at 270 who just wants to try to cross chop everybody. That, like, that's all you see from him. And as a run defender, he
It's
is
Pac-12 play.
helpless. Yeah, it's Pac-12 play in the Big Ten. So that's kind of where we're at with this edge class, man. We'll talk. I'm excited to talk through some of these names tomorrow because, I mean, we're talking about some dudes who, I mean, just like a little spoiler on David Bailey, like another ungodly explosive guy, but Stanford didn't put him on the field in the red zone or in obvious run, like in run situations because he's helpless. But another ungodly explosive athlete, Anto Saka, I mentioned earlier too, from Northwestern, extremely raw, but like, if you want to build an edge rusher out of clay, you're building his body type and you're building those physical tools. So like some fun names to talk about tomorrow that we'll talk through a little bit more in depth. But for now, Dalton, I think that's all we've got here. We talked about 5 with a little even recap there on Mateo Uyunglele as well. Sitting here at 25 minutes. But do you have anything else you want to add here before we let the people go?
I absolutely do not. I have nothing except for that I love you guys.
There it is. Again, we're back 4 days a week starting this week. So buckle back in. Football season's right around the corner. I mean, we're probably 2 weeks out, 3 weeks out from week 0 here. So football season is approaching very, very, very quickly. So, but until next time, this has been the Daft on Draft podcast.